coming from someone who was there from the start, who initiated the reform for real property valuation and assessment. Okay, I just have a few questions touching on digitalization, digital transformation. You did mention before, but specifically how RP-VARA, its provisions and implementing rules facilitate the adoption of digital transformation, and what can we expect from BLGF to promote this?
Yeah, the provisions of the RP-VARA itself, as I discussed a while ago, the BLGF is tasked to develop the real property information system. And this is the trigger to develop succeeding systems connecting with the RPIS, all the way to the recording of the collections and expenditures by the local treasurer. So the RPIS, it is a system. We are not going to give that to each and every LGUs. It will be a system maintained by the Bureau of Local Government Finance, which is a database of all real property transactions where assessors of the LGUs will link with for them to access the data that they need in the development of the schedule of market values. And this will also be available to national government agencies for free. However, if the private sector would like to access that, there will be a certain fee to be collected, which we are planning it to answer for the maintenance of the system, so that we will not be asking every now and then budget for the maintenance of the system.
Yeah, that's something to look forward to. I did see in your presentation earlier, there was a timeline. But when do we expect the full implementation of the RPIS?
Okay, thank you for that. As I said, it is already 90% complete. It's ongoing. The development is ongoing, and it is funded by a loan from the ADB under the Local Governance Reform Project being implemented by the BLGF. And by next year, we'll be rolling out the system, of course, primarily to local assessors. And we will be filling in also the data needed in the system. And with that, there will be capacity building, we will be upskilling, reskilling our local assessors to use the system, the RPIS and the computer-aided mass appraisal system. In the computer-aided mass appraisal system, there will be a formula to be used by the LGUs so that the valuation of real properties will be faster.
Thank you, Edie Ching. Coming to the SMVs, schedule of market values. What are the mechanisms in place to ensure transparency, consistency, and public participation in the preparation and updating of the SMV? And how will this affect shareholder confidence in the new valuation system?
Oh, that's a very good question. It is also contained in the provisions of the RP-VARA that before the local assessors submit their proposed SMVs to the BLGF for review, it will start from the BLGF regional offices, then it will be submitted to the BLGF central office, all the way to the secretary. It is mandated and it is mandatory that there has to be a public consultation first to be conducted. At least 2 public consultations where the local assessors will present to stakeholders their proposed schedule of market values. And there will also be a requirement for publication of those proposed values. Actually, there are already LGUs submitting to us their proposed SMVs for review, but we returned them for lack of public consultation.
Okay, my final question is on the amnesty, tax amnesty. I'm sure a lot of property owners are interested. The tax amnesty covers interest, surcharge, penalties on unpaid RPT. Just to confirm, for everyone's reference, these are unpaid real property taxes before July 5, 2024. The implementation of the RP VARA, right? Okay, just to confirm as well, because I know this has been a debate before the law and in the crafting of the IRR. Can you please confirm, I do know that it's in the IRR, that it is not necessary for the local government unit, for the city, province, to enact an ordinance, right, before an amnesty is implemented?
Yes, it is self-executory. The provisions on amnesty under the RP VARA is self-executory. Now, there is only need for an ordinance, maybe when the delinquent real property owner opts to pay in installment, because that is also provided, no? Because, you know, if it is an installment basis, there has to be a proper guide. Like for instance, if they want to pay an installment, then they may pay 50% of the delinquency, then they will pay an installment, the remaining amount. So, but when the real property owner opts to pay in full, so there will be no problem. And also, I would like to emphasize that the amnesty covers only penalties, surcharges, and interest. The real property owner still has to pay the basic real property tax and the special education tax. But that's already a big unburdening the real property owners, because you know, when you incur delinquencies, it's the penalties that will be much than the basic tax. And actually, we are monitoring each and every region, how much have we collected under the amnesty and how much are forgone.
Thank you, Irichi. I have still a few more questions. Unfortunately, we don't have time. So thank you very much again for raising this case and for responding to our questions.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Executive Director Alcawili and Attorney Vergara, for that comprehensive discussion. And now let's proceed to our next topic, driving investments through tax reforms and digital transformation. We have Teresa O. Panga, was appointed